This video is designed to be an introduction on how to utilize the Key Realty School online course materials. In step-by-step directions, the first thing that we would like you to do is go to keyrealtyschool.com, which is the school homepage. Once there, go ahead and go to the current student sections. Let the drop menu come down and go ahead and select online coursework. Once you select the online coursework, this will automatically take you to an additional directions page. Please read this over as the information is invaluable. That said, we are going to go ahead and click on the login button to take us to the Key Realty School online course login. The online course login will ask you for usernames and passwords. The usernames and passwords can be found in the Read This First folder that would have been emailed to you or supplied to you at the time of enrollment. Within this folder, there is a document called Online Coursework. Within this Online Coursework document, there will be a username and password that you will use to go ahead and access your course. Go ahead and type in your username password. Remember that this password combination is case sensitive. Once the password is submitted, it will allow you access into the Key Realty School online course. Once the online course is loaded on your screen, to identify some major components, we will have 4 major topics that make up the course: realty, agency, finance, and Nevada law. For discussion purposes, we're going to focus on the subject of realty and personal property, which is the first major topic in the sequence of the 4. Now, the recommended study sequence for the subject of realty and personal property is as follows. In order to find this flow chart for the recommended study sequence, once again we're going to go to our Read This First packet, select the Read This First file, go ahead and scroll down to page 9 of this Read This First document. There are 4 flow charts that make up the course: realty and personal property, agency, finance, and then finally Nevada state law. Again, for informational purposes, we're going to be discussing the subject of realty and personal property. Once we identify how to study this subject, we can easily carry over the study and lesson plan to the 4 subjects as a whole. In identifying the major steps, the first step is to listen to the audio files, which we'll examine in a moment. The next step is to watch the streaming video, and in tandem with this, use the workbook and lesson plan to better understand the curriculum as a whole. Once you have briefly reviewed the flow chart, continue back to the online course, at which point when you go to the online course, we're going to go ahead and select realty and personal property. When we select this subject, each one of the 4 subjects will be set up in this same manner. There will be lesson plans and content information at the top. We would then proceed down to the video sections, and then it would finalize with the audio. Now, per the terms of the flow chart, I'm going to recommend that you go ahead and review the audio first. Take your own notes from these audio files. Once you have reviewed the audio, we recommend briefly reviewing each one of the lesson plans. We do not recommend taking the quizzes associated with these lesson plans until you have watched the videos associated with each lesson plan. The videos have 2 options: window media files and flash files. All 90 hours of the real estate pre-licensing class are presented through these videos. Individuals can choose either the Windows or Flash, whichever they prefer. In this case, we're going to use Flash as an example. When clicking on it, the video will appear. Of course, we have our options relative to the video progression at the bottom of the video. Watching the video and taking the notes is important relative to understanding the lecture. These videos are replaced approximately every quarter. The videos are not mandatory, but all items, lesson plans, videos, and audio are all recommended sequence in which to better understand the topic as a whole. The objective of the student is to master one of the 4 topics at a time. Once the student feels comfortable with the curriculum for the topic, there are a number of different practice tests available. Of course, the true and false quizzes. There's also a practice written examination. In addition to the practice written examination, there are online practice tests associated with each one of the 4 topics and comprehensive wholes. In order to access the online practice testing, once again we're going to want to go to our Read This First document and select the PDF file titled Online Practice Testing. Once again, a username and password will be associated with this function. In summary, to access the online practice testing, the student would go to the school home page again, go to the Current Student section, and select Online Practice Testing. Once the student has selected Online Practice Testing, a sequence of directions will once again be displayed. We always recommend reading over these directions, but in this case we're going to proceed forward to the login. At the time of login, the student will enter in the username and password associated with their file. Once they gain access to this practice testing, they will select the tests associated with the subject that they're currently reviewing. In this case, it's the subject of realty and personal property. Students are encouraged to take these practice tests to further evaluate how well they've understood the subject. These practice tests are not required, but strongly recommended so that the student is better prepared for the comprehensive completion examination to receive the course certificate. Once the student feels comfortable with the subject of realty and personal property, the student is then encouraged to go to the next subject. In this case, it will be the subject of agency and federal laws. They would follow the same progression to finance and Nevada law, thus culminating all 4 of the topics. Again, once all 4 subjects have been mastered, the student is then encouraged to take the school completion examination. The prompts below this completion or course completion link should dictate exactly how to take the completion examination with the school. The completion examination is the document that culminates the course and provides the student with the ability to progress forward with the Nevada Real Estate Licensing exam. We hope that this informational video has supplied you with additional guidance and information on how to progress through the Key Realty School online course. Please feel free to contact the school with any additional questions. Our contact number is 1-800-472-3893.